Hey there, Louis Jacobellis here. Thanks for stopping by. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to import data from a spreadsheet into a table in ServiceNow. Now, before we get started, if you find this tutorial helpful, please like it and be sure to subscribe to my channel to stay up to date on the latest ServiceNow tutorials that I publish. And be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Luigi Jacobellis. Last but not least, if you're interested in learning more about the tools that I use to produce these videos, check out the links in the description below. Now let's go ahead and let's get started. All right, now before I actually get started and show you how to import records into an existing table in ServiceNow, what I'm going to do is I am going to pull up the table that I am going to import records into. In this case, I'm going to be importing records into the CMDB_CI computer table. So this is an out-of-the-box table in ServiceNow to record information about computers, actual physical assets. So I'm just going to type in the table name .list and click enter, and this is going to actually bring me into the list of records in this table. So you can see here this table is recording details of physical computers, including manufacturer, model number, the operating system, CPU speed, etc. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am going to import some additional records into this table from a spreadsheet. And now what I'll do is I'll just pull up that spreadsheet here for demonstration purposes. So you can see here I'm only going to be importing 3 records, and I'm not going to be filling out all of the fields for these computer records, but rather I am just going to be populating some of these fields, including name, manufacturer, operating system, CPU speed, disk space, cost center, etc. Okay. All right, so now to get started, what you want to do is you want to type load data in the filter navigator, and you want to click on load data under system import sets. Now, the import process in ServiceNow is best described as a 2-step process. So the first step is really importing the data into a staging table. A staging table is essentially just a temporary table where we're going to house the data. Once this step is complete, then we'll actually push this data from the staging table or the temporary table into the target table, and we'll be able to map the data fields accordingly. Okay, so what you want to do here under import set table is you can either choose to create a new staging table or temporary table, or if you've done an import before, you can click on existing table and you're going to see a list of those temporary staging tables that have been created in the past. Now in this case, I'm just going to create a new table, and I'm going to call this computer_April 2020. so that I can identify this as my computer import for this month. And then the next thing that you need to do is select the source of the import. Okay, and in this case, we're going to check File, and then I'm going to click on Choose File, and I am going to select the spreadsheet that I want to import. And so here you can see that spreadsheet that I just showed you. So I'm going to click Open. And you can see here by default, ServiceNow is going to say look at sheet number 1 in case you have multiple tabs or sheets in the Excel file, and start from header row number 1. Now you want to go ahead and click Submit. And you can see here that this import is running. And you can see here that the import is now complete. And you can see the details in the message here. So process 3 records, insert 3 records. Okay, and there were no empty and ignored or errors. Okay, now what you want to do is if you want to actually preview this data, you can click on import sets, and I'm just going to open this in a new tab. Okay, and I can click on the iSet or the import set number. And from here, I can click on the import set rows. Okay, and here, if I actually want to view these records, I can click into them. In this case, I'll just preview them. And again, you can see those attributes that I had populated. The name, Dell XPS 15, operating system, Windows 10, cost center, etc. And I'll just bring up my spreadsheet again for demonstration purposes here. So you can see that my attributes have been loaded correctly. Okay. Now I am going to go back to my import set screen here. And the next step to actually push this data into the target table is to create what's called a transform map. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this. All right, now the transform map is essentially the protocol that is used to take the records from our source table, in this case our spreadsheet, and map them to our target table, which is the existing table in ServiceNow. So the first thing that you want to do here is give this transform map a name, and so I'm going to call this computer_import. Okay, and you'll see here that our source table is the spreadsheet that I imported. Okay, so again, that's our source and we want to push it into a target table. In terms of the other options on the screen, you want to leave active checked. That is going to set this transform map to active so it can be executed. Run business rules you can leave checked as well. This is going to enforce or execute any business rules that exist on our target table, for example, when records are created or updated. If you want to enforce mandatory fields, okay, so if we are not populating mandatory fields in our spreadsheet and you want to enforce this, then you can click on this checkbox and click on only mapped fields or all fields. Now, in this case, I'm just going to leave this to no for demonstration purposes. You can also choose to copy empty fields. All right, and this last option, create new record on empty coalesce fields. In ServiceNow, coalesce fields in import sets are unique identifiers that can be used to update existing records in a target table when you're transforming import data. So you want to check this box if you're importing data and only want to create new records. If you're looking to import data to update existing records, then you will uncheck this box. And after you create the transform map, you can set your coalesce fields and update parameters in the field maps. So I'm going to check this box as I'm not looking to update any records or even to configure the coalesce fields in the actual field mapping. And the last step here is to go ahead and select your target table. And in this case, I am going to search for CMDB _CI_ computer, and I'm going to select this. Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and click submit. Okay, and you can see here now that our transform map record has been created. So I'm going to click on the record here, computer import. Okay, and so you can see all of the details that we just filled out. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on auto map matching fields. And what this is going to do is this is going to look at our source table, in this case, again, our spreadsheet, and it is going to attempt to map it to the corresponding field on our target table. So you can see here in my spreadsheet, I had a manufacturer column, and ServiceNow was intelligent enough to map that to the manufacturer column in the target table. Same thing for cost, operating system, disk space, name, CPU speed, etc. Okay, so it helps to try to provide column headers in the source file that are descriptive and that align to the target columns in our target table as much as possible. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're actually just going to go ahead and execute this transform. And so you want to click on the transform link here. Okay, and again, in this case, ServiceNow is going to pull over our transform map, which was named again computer import. And we are going to go ahead and click on the transform button. And so ServiceNow is going to execute this. And you can see here that the status is complete and it was successful. Now I'm going to click on transform history. Okay, so again, this allows you to actually view the status or result of that transform. And you can see here that the total number of records inserted is 3. Okay, so that is how to actually execute the two-step process, which is to create the staging table and then to create your transform map and execute that transform. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up my target table just to demonstrate that those records were imported successfully. And you can see here these top 3 records were created on April 14th. Okay, and you can see here again our Microsoft Surface Book, our Dell XPS, and our Surface Book 3 15-inch. And just for verification, I'm going to pull up my spreadsheet here, and you can see that these 3 records correspond to those records that were imported. So that's it. This was just a quick tutorial showing you how to import records into ServiceNow. I hope you found this tutorial useful. If you did, please like it and be sure to subscribe to my channel to stay up to date on the latest ServiceNow tutorials that I publish. I'm Louis Yacoubellis. Thanks for stopping by. Talk soon.